Aloha everyone, my name is Armando Sierra, and in this video today we're going to be talking about the high school football in Hawaii. Now, high school football was really popular back in the 60s. It still is today, but it's a lot different than how it was back then. And of course, all of the games in the 60s were played at the old Honolulu Stadium. That was a place of action when I was growing up. High school sports was very popular back then, and everyone would cheer for their high school football team. So let's journey back in time to the 1960s, and maybe even a little bit further back than that, and then take a look at the photos and stories of that time, or that period. Of going all the way back to 1926, a packed house of 15,000 people watched the action in the end zone as Kamehameha and Saint Louis College battled for the ILH crown. It's the first high school game and second football contest at the 2-week old Honolulu Stadium. The Warriors won 14-13 on a drop kick point after touchdown. I didn't even know that they had such a thing back in those days. It's pretty funny. Now, 1947 was a player by the name of Charlie Ane and the Clark brothers. They played in one of the biggest upsets in ILH history. A considerably smaller McKinley team overcame an early 7-0 deficit. The surprise above them blew 19-7. So in the end, McKinley won that game. Classmates and teammates, Jimmy Clark, Charlie Ane, and Herman Clark were among the Hawaii's most respected high school athletes. All three went on to play in the NFL. Now we move to 1950, and that's when Iolani was coached by Father Bray. And Father Bray's Red Raiders won their third ILH championship in 1950 with plays like Gopher Broke, Student Body Right, and Sweep, executed in textbook fashion by speedy back Noboru Yonamini. So he was pretty much the coach at that time. And Father Kenneth Gray is his name. Now I should mention that there were a lot of battles in the mud. Honolulu Stadium was a grass field, and every time the football season was around the rainy season, so every time around October, you would always have mud baths or mud bowls, and so it was really funny to see the players all soaked in mud, and that was pretty much how the games went back in those days. Now in the 60s, I should say 58, the new coach Cal Chai Kamehameha ended Roosevelt's ILH dominance. Roosevelt was pretty strong in the 50s, and Kamehameha took the championship in 1958. Going back a little bit to Charlie Ane again, his name is Charlie Titai Ane, and he was a star football player, and his wife was a cheerleader. The two of them were high school sweethearts, and they were one another's first dates. Well, they eventually married in 1952, and Charlie Ane played for the University of Southern California and Detroit Lions, and he also coached at Punahou, Beeman, and Radford High School. Now, in 1956, um, the Aloha Bowl featured the ILH winner Roosevelt and Oe Victor Kahuku in a contest which marked the first time the two league champions met in postseason play. Now, I began going to high school football in 1964. Now, and I was only 11 years old at the time. Since I attended St. Patrick's School for the sixth grade, it was natural for all of us to cheer for St. Louis. So we always sat on the St. Louis side, cheered for the Crusaders. Now, I used to sell lineups in front of the old Termite Palace or Honolulu Stadium, which was pretty cool. And we were able to keep a certain percentage of the money and watch the games for free. And so we pretty much we had extra money. We could buy boiled peanuts, hot dogs, whatever. It was a blast. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. And then over time, I discovered that the cheerleaders would buy the lineups because it featured their boyfriends picture on the cover. And I remember a cheerleader by the name of Lucy Punahou would always buy a lineup because it would show Charlie Whittemire, her future husband, on the cover. So that's how we were, able to sell those lineups. We'd always go after the cheerleaders. Now, in 1964, I watched Punahou play against McKinley. Charlie Whittemire would have three players trying to bring him down at the same time, and he still completed the touchdown pass. He was such a phenomenal quarterback. Now, Punahou, without Charlie Whittemire, who was hospitalized previously and forced to miss the game against Kamehameha, lost that game. I think it was 6-0. Kamehameha, however, lost their last game to Roosevelt. And that gave Punahou another chance. Punahou and Kamehameha played before a sellout crowd of over 25,000 people at the old Honolulu Stadium. Punahou went on to win that game and were the ILH champions in 1964. I went to that championship game in 1964. You couldn't find a seat in the house. And it just so happens I ran into my family doctor, Dr. Douglas Bell Sr. He said to us, "Don't tell your mom that I'm cheering for Punahou." So that's pretty funny. He was a wonderful family doctor. Now, Charlie Whittemire went on to play at Michigan State. And he went on after Michigan State, he went on to be a high school teacher and a football coach. After being diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, he continued to teach and coach football at Stratos High School. He was the subject of a PBS documentary and a made-for-TV movie. Charlie Whittemire was such an inspirational leader, someone that I truly, truly admired. Now, there were a lot of fierce rivalries in the 60s. I remember Farrington St. Louis. Farrington lost by 1 point. It was 13-12 or something like that in the first game of the season. And they paid to a 0-0 tie uh, in the Turkey Day game. So there were some very fierce rivalries, always with Farrington, St. Louis, Punahou, Kamehameha. And 1968, it was McKinley against Iolani. And they played for the championship game. And I didn't go to that game, but I heard it was a muddy game. And Iolani won that game. I think it was 7-0. So Iolani, Roy Trong, were the champions. I remember McKinney had a quarterback by the name of Ron Altele. And I remember players like Blessing Bird. I seen Blessing Bird nail Arnold Morgado flat on his back. It was amazing. It was what a sight. I still remember it's in my mind. But anyway, at that time in the late 60s, I enrolled at Kamehameha and I was my junior year. That's when they had Milton Holt, Steve Okano, Larry Kalinamoku, and they won the championship in 1969. Played against St. Louis in the Turkey Day game, won 13-6. So yeah, in at least one year in my high school time, we were champions of the ILH. Now, it was sad to see after the '69 season the ILH and in public school and private schools split. And the public schools went to the OIA. They tried recently to bring back those rivalries, which was kind of neat because now you got also Mililani, which is pretty strong, and I live in Mililani, and they're a good team, and I like to see those games whenever they play. Hopefully, they build a stadium soon enough so we can watch those rivalries again. But anyway, those are the good memories I had of the '60s and high school football. Now, Honolulu Stadium had more than football. It had Hawaii Islanders. I went to some of their games too. Also had the stock car racing. Also, Elvis was in concert there, and they had concerts there too. So that stadium was used for multi-purpose. It wasn't just football. But I have my memories mostly on the high school football. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the story of the high school football in Hawaii during my period growing up. Mahalo for watching.